Welcome, welcome, welcome to Weebly, how to create professional, easy websites for completely free. My name is Desiree Alexander, aka Educator Alexander, and I am here to teach you part one of how to create a website using the amazing Weebly. We're going to go ahead and get started. I have Esther here with me. Welcome, welcome, Esther. Esther, we're going to be working on www.weebly.com. So you can go ahead and go to that. I know you've already signed in, so we don't have to go through any of that. But go ahead and go to weebly.com. And if you want to work with me, if not, then you can, of course, do all of this later. But if you want to work with me, if you have a split screen or something like that, you're welcome to do that, or two computers, you're welcome to do that. If not, if you just want to kind of see the skills, then you can do it that way as well. So this video will be on my YouTube channel, and you're actually going to get an email after this with your certificate and with a link to the video. So you can always go back and look at it and get any skills that you may need. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually share my screen with you so you can see everything that I'm doing on Weebly. Okay, so this is Weebly.com. So when you first get to the main Weebly site, it should look like this. Now, I already have an account, so mine may pop up a little bit different. Let's see if it goes. No, see, it's going directly to my dashboard. But if I signed out, it would be the original Weebly account. And I just saw that you said that you created an account, so that's awesome. So you're not going to see this dashboard when you first create an account, but I am going to go through it and let you know the different things that you can do when you're here. When you first create a Weebly account, usually it takes you to your first website. So it's going to ask you first, do you want to sell anything online? Honestly, I suggest that you put not now, even if you may want a store, because if you notice at the bottom, you can add an online store at any time. So I usually say no, and then I add my store wherever I want it. So I'm going to say not now. So the next thing Weebly asks you is about selecting a theme. So this shows you how is your website going to look. The good thing about Weebly is it's very drag and drop. It's very clicky. And what I mean by that is you really don't have to know code. You don't have to know HTML. You really don't have to know any of that stuff to create a really, really nice, a really, really professional website. So you can look at all the different themes. Now, I do like to tell people one of the things you really don't have to worry about is the picture itself, because you're going to 9 times out of 10 change that picture. Okay, so when you're looking at a theme, you don't have to look at it, you don't have to choose it, excuse me, by the picture itself. But what you do want to look at is where is the navigation menu here at the top. So where's this navigation menu? Because that's something that you cannot change. So that's what you want to look at. See if it's a navigation menu that you really, want to live with. Even though you can change the theme of a Weebly website at any time. So that's another good thing about Weebly is anytime you want to kind of refresh your website, you can do it at, a click of a button, you can do it. So notice that the navigation menu over here is on your left. The navigation over here is on your right. The navigation right here is in the middle, and it has an underline to show you what page you're on. This one is in the middle with no underline. It looks like it actually has some little boxes. You have this one that's more to your left. This one has boxes around it, and it's to your right. So that's the kind of stuff you want to look at. This one doesn't show the navigation. It's all under this little hamburger menu. So that's the kind of stuff you want to look at. Where do I want my navigation menu? Notice this one has like nice little lines around it, and then it highlights with a box. It highlights which one you want. So this one is on top of the picture, looks like. So, or is it up here? Oh, it's up here. So that's the kind of thing you want to look at when you're choosing a theme. Okay, so if you look at all of these themes and you're like, ugh, I don't like any of these, then go ahead and click view more themes. So you're going to get even more. Okay, so if you're working with me, go ahead and choose whatever theme. Notice this one is left and right. Choose whatever theme that you want to play with. I'm going to go ahead and choose this theme right here. So if you want to work with me and choose the same theme, you are welcome to do so. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this one. I'm just going to click on it. Another cool thing about the theme is that you can preview it. So if I actually had information, it will bring my information and actually show me what that theme looks like. So if I don't want to choose this theme, I can come here and close it and then go ahead and choose another one. But I'm going to go ahead and choose this theme. So I'm going to say start editing. It's now creating my website for me. Okay, so sometimes when you pick a theme, this box will pop up, and every now and then it won't. If it doesn't pop up, it's not a big deal because you're going to get back to this the first time you publish your website. So again, if you pick a theme and this box does not pop up, not a big deal. I promise I'm going to show you how you can get right back to this and choose what you want your website to be, what your URL. Okay, good. But just know in the future when you choose one, sometimes it won't pop up. So you have three options to say, what do you want people to go to get to your website? What do you want the URL up here to be? Okay. The first one is to register a new domain. So what you're going to do here is you're pretty much going to, you're pretty much going to buy your domain. So you're going to choose what do you want the domain to be, and then you're actually going to purchase it from Weebly. So if you've ever heard of companies like GoDaddy, you know, you see the commercials with the kind of naked ladies running all around, you don't know what they do. They sell domains. Buying a domain is really cheap. I'm not gonna say cheap. It's not like $2, but it's not that expensive. So if you want your website to be taken a little bit more seriously, a little bit more professional, then you do want to go ahead and buy your domain. So for example, my website is educatoralexander.com. So I actually bought this domain. So notice it's just a .com and it looks a little bit more professional. So, sorry. So that's what you would do right here. So you can choose .com, .net, .org, .co, .shop, .info, .us. About the only thing you can't choose is .gov, and that's for government websites. So you can choose whatever website you want to choose. You put your website in right here, and then you can go to buy it. Now, if you choose something that is already taken, it's going to tell you, hey, that domain is not available. Okay, so you can't be google.com. But if you choose something like, let's say, Little Miss Awesome Teacher. Okay, so that is available. So you can steal that from me if you want to. And what you'll do is, if you wanted to buy that domain, you would go down or up, sorry, to continue. And then it's going to load the payment page to say, okay, well, you actually have to buy this domain. So you can see the prices of it and kind of what you get with it. So some domains are even cheaper than this if you go to a different website to buy it. If you don't get that screen, you can always hit publish. But you can actually go to different websites and buy it. Sometimes you do get a domain for like $1 for the first year or something crazy like that. And then you'll have to pay a little bit more later. But not too expensive if you are doing something that you really want to look professional with. The second one is you're going to use a domain that you already own. So if you did go to GoDaddy and you've already purchased your domain, you can click here and you can actually use it. So for example, educatoralexander.com. I actually purchased this directly from Weebly, but if I didn't, if I purchased this from GoDaddy.com and I wanted to now do a Weebly website, but I wanted to use it, that's when I can go here and I can say I want this domain to be used with this website. You would click continue, and then you would go through that process. If you want to stick to completely free, which when you're first starting your website, unless you already know it's a business or you already know it's something that you need to look a little bit more professional, most of us start with Weebly.com website. Even Educator Alexander started with Weebly.com website. Okay, so most of us start there. So what you would do is you would type in whatever you want your website to be and see if it's available. If it's a free website, your website will always end with .weebly.com. So if I had, let's say, educatoralexander.weebly.com. Okay, so I've already done that because I used to have a .weebly.com, but that's what you would put in. So if you want to do Little Miss Teacher, I forgot the awesome. Alright, so if you want to do that, they say the domain is available, so I can go ahead and hit continue. So let's see, Little Miss Teacher Awesome, that's fine. And I'm going to say continue. So that's going to actually be my website. Anytime you want to quote unquote save your website, you're going to come up here to the big blue publish button. Now when you click that, it's actually publishing it on the actual internet. So you can come here and click publish. Notice it's going to bring you to the same screen. You never have to fill this out again if you don't want to. And you would just hit continue. It's going to publish your site for you. Now of course you can open up a new tab and go to your website. You can actually just click this link right here. This is telling you this is your website. Notice if you do a free one that's at .weebly.com, there is no www. Okay, that's really important. So if I click this website is actually live. So if somebody just knew my URL, they can go to this website right now and this is what they're going to see. So every time you click publish, that is going to publish your website live. Okay, so if somebody is already on your website, let's say you're talking to a client and they're like, oh, I don't see it. And you go, oh, well, let me add it to my website right quick. If you go ahead and add it and publish it, they will have to refresh their screen to see it. Okay, so once they refresh, then they'll see whatever you added to it. Any questions so far about how to publish and how to create your URL? Alright, moving on. So usually when I do a basics class, I try to go button by button and show you everything. But because we're talking about a website, I do have to kind of skip around just a little bit. But I skip around with a purpose. So I promise you it all makes sense. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to get a page. This is your navigation menu. Every time you add a page, it creates another navigation link. So I'm going to click on pages. Right now we're on build, but I'm going to get off of that and click on pages. Pages is where we're going to start. So notice you have a home page, you have a venue page, you have an RSVP page, a registry page, and a contact page. So this, what I want to say, this template is for a wedding or for some type of event. So if I do not want these pages, like maybe I just really liked how the picture is underneath the navigation menu. I like where the title is, but I'm not about to have a wedding. I may delete all these pages, or I may use some of the layouts and go, ooh, I like this. I may put pictures of stuff that I sell right here or something like that. So it's really up to you whether you keep the pages that are already listed for you or delete them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually delete them so we can start fresh. So how do I delete them? Every page that you build is a navigation menu. So I'm going to come to the last one, that's contact, and I'm going to click on it. How do I delete it? Is I come right here and click delete. So I'm actually going to delete these so I can start fresh. I'm going to leave the home page right here just because we need to have at least one page. Well, what I'm going to do is now show you how to add a page. I'm going to come up here to the plus sign, and I'm going to show you what each of these does, but right now I'm just going to click on add a new standard page. A standard page is just a regular old page. Okay? Whatever I name my page right here is what's going to show up on the navigation menu. So I can say I want this page to be Contact Us. I'm going to explain why you would hide something in the navigation menu in a second. Then you have some other options down here that we're going to go through. Right now, I'm just going to name it and click Done. So notice the name changes to Contact Us. Now I'm going to go to the home page and actually delete it because we have to have at least one page. So now I have my Contact Us page. And then I'm actually going to add another one and call it Home. Okay, so I have two pages. So let me show you all the awesome things you can do with your different pages and with the navigation menu. So first of all, you notice that Home is after Contact Us. That's not what I want. Of course, I want Home to be at the top, at the front. So what I'm going to do is I can rearrange these. I'm going to click on Home and drag it up, and it automatically changes. So I don't have to add my pages in order, but I will just drag and drop them where I want them to be. Okay? I'm going to add another page because I have to have some kind of info about myself, right? So I'm going to add another standard page, and I'm going to call it About Me. Now, on my About Me page, I have some options. One is Hide in Navigation Menu. So what that does is if I click this and click Done, notice that you don't see About Me up here. But About Me is still an active page on my website. So why would I use this, and what does that mean? Let's say you're having a bake sale at school. And I know you may not be at school, I'm just using school as an example. So let's say you're having a bake sale at school, and you have that bake sale every single year. You create this awesome bake sale website. You love it. It's amazing. So you create this awesome bake sale website, but after January, you don't need it anymore. But you will need it next January. Well, I don't want to delete it and then create it all over again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on it and hide it from the navigation menu. That way, when people come to my website, they won't be able to click on bake sale because it won't be here. Now, the asterisk to that is it's still an active page on my website. So what do I mean by that? I mean that when people go, let me go ahead and publish this so I can show you what I mean. That means when people go to littlemissteacherawesome.weebly.com/about-us, or what was the name of my page? Nah, I should have just named it Bake Sale. About Me, they can still get to that page. So it's not in your navigation menu, but the page is still active on the internet. So that means if somebody bookmarked it or made it a favorite, they can still get to it. If they just happen to, know what the bake dash sale is, they can get to it. So just know that they can still get to it, but you can hide it from your navigation menu. I do that a lot when, if let's say I start a class and they say, hey, everybody go create a website and say, introduce yourself to us. Well, I'll do it on my Educator Alexander website, but I don't want people that's coming to do consulting business with me to see a random introduction page. So I will hide it in the navigation menu. So the only people that have it are the people that I send the link to. So it's a whole bunch of little reasons why you would use this hiding navigation. All right, next, header type. This right here, this big picture is what's called a header. Okay, and notice I took off hide and now it's back. Excuse me, this big picture is called a header. So you can decide how do you want that header to look on your page. Do you want a header or do you want no header at all? Sometimes we want a header and we want the same picture throughout our website. But you know what? Sometimes we just want a page with some information on it. And we don't want the big picture at the top. So I'm actually going to leave this one with no header. Visibility. Usually all of your pages are going to be public unless you actually pay for your Weebly website. And I'll explain that a little bit more later. If you pay for your Weebly website, you can actually have a site that has a password. Uh-oh. It's leading me to the payment page because you have to pay for the website for that to happen. Okay, so you can have a site with a password. So that means I would actually have to know your password to get on your website. So that's how you can have a more secure website. Or you can have, excuse me, a page that's just for members or groups. So if you ever go into a website and then it says like member sign in, you can have that with your Weebly site. So you can have a completely public website and then maybe the member sign in is right here and they have to have a password to get on the member sign in part of your website. But again, that's all stuff that you have to pay for a Weebly website to get. And we're really concentrated on just the free stuff here. SEO settings. I don't teach this a lot in basics, but what this is these are the things that you're going to come up with of what shows up when people search for your website. So notice it says this is the page description that appears in the search engine. So if I go to Google and I search for something, this right here, what's going to show? So if your website comes up, like if you made a cat website and it comes up on Google, which it will, what do you want to show right here? So that's what you're going to put in the page description. Meta words is what words do you want them to search and your site comes up. So you can separate those by comma. And then you have footer codes and header codes. These are codes that you will put to make your footer or header do certain things. Also to make your website do certain things. So for example, I have a footer code on my Educator Alexander website that I just Googled. And what it does is it makes it to where you cannot copy things off my website. So what that means is if you come here and you want to copy and paste this, if I come here and do this, and I'm right-clicking right now to copy, I can't. Okay, now of course I could do the keyboard shortcut and do Control-C, and then it did actually copy. But, you know, a lot of people don't know about Control-C, so if they're trying to right-click on it, they cannot. So that's a footer code. And if you want that code, you can just let me know and I can get it for you. But that's the kind of things that it'll tell you, put this in the footer code, put this in the header code for different stuff to work with your website. Okay, remind me at the end, I can absolutely get that code for you. So there you go. Or you can say, hide this page from search engines. So honestly, if you're doing a page for a certain amount of people that you really don't want to show up in Google, come here and say, any other search engine, so come here and say, hide this page. So let's say I'm doing a class website where I really don't want people searching for it. I just wanted to do it for my parents. Or let's say I'm doing a website for a class or a website for my business, but I don't want it to be searchable right now. Whatever your reason, you can come and hide this page from search engines. Okay. The overall complete website SEO settings is actually in settings, but we'll get to that later. So this is for just the page about me. So then, of course, I've already showed you how you can delete the page, but you can also copy the page, which is really, really helpful. So you may be thinking, oh, why would I copy a page? Why would I copy about me? Well, think about it. Let's say you have a website, or I'm sorry, a page, and I know I keep using education examples, but I'm in education, so that's why. But let's say I name my page classes, right? And then, okay, well, good. Well, anybody watching this on YouTube, I'm sorry, I keep using education examples. But let's say I name this classes, right? And then what I want is, I want first period, second period, third period, and all that to be under classes. So if I make a first period page, and it's awesome, and I love it, but you know what? My second period page is going to look the exact same. I'm just going to change it to second period. Maybe I'll add a different picture. That's when I'm going to come here and copy the page. So I'm going to do everything I want to with it, make it awesome, and then I can copy it, and then guess what? I only have to change certain things on it. So I don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. Okay? So those are all the things you can do right here per page. Now, I just said something interesting. I said I created this classes page, but I wanted first period to be underneath classes, not over here. How in the world would I do that? It's easy. So first of all, I'm going to move classes right under home. And I'm going to move contact us at the end. Usually contact us will be your last page. But I still want first period to be under classes. I didn't solve my problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move first period right here. But again, it's still not under. But I'm going to move it a little bit to the right. Now, first period is under classes. That's how easy it is. So that's how you create a sub page. If I come here and move it back to the left, now it's going to be a page by itself. Move it to the right underneath classes. Now when somebody comes and hover over classes, they can see first period right there under it. Amazing. Alright, so now let's look at the different types of pages that you can do. Notice we've only been doing a standard page. You can do as many levels as you want to. So if I look at, you can do as many as you want to. So if I wanted to move classes under home, and then about me under first period, and then contact us under about me. So now I have home, classes, first period, about me. You can just keep doing it. So I'm going to move these back. About me and contact us. Yep, so you can just keep going, keep going, keep going. Oh, classes is, okay, let me move that back. All right, there you go. So, yeah, you can keep going. Very good question. So, I'm going to look at all the other different types of pages I can do. So, the first one is called a blog page. So, if I click that, and I'll just leave it named blog, that's fine. So, notice that when I do a blog page, it looks a little bit different. So it gives you some stuff over here where you can talk about yourself as an author. It shows all of the different blogs that you have done. And if you want to do categories, it lets you do categories. It also has an RSS feed on it. And notice that a regular page, look at the bottom, doesn't have what a blog page has at the bottom. So if you're doing a blog page, this is for you to actually blog about whatever you want to blog about. So notice it has new posts. I'm going to come here and click new posts when I feel like typing. You also have comments and blog settings. Under comments, it shows you all the comments that people have made on your blog. You can actually approve the comments, delete the comments, or mark them as spam. So if somebody comments, and you know sometimes you go to websites and you see a comment and they're like, sell things from home, it's easy. Like, it's like, that's spam. So I'm going to mark that as spam so that person can't comment anymore. But this is how you can come and approve your comments. And then you have blog settings. This page is also under settings. But I'm going to click on blog settings, and you can do your settings. So you can say how many posts per page do you want to show up. Do you want the post share buttons? What this is when you post a blog, it's going to have some little buttons for you to automatically post it to your Twitter account, your Facebook account, and then of course you can customize it and you can say what is your Twitter account, what is your, because you have to give it access to your Twitter and Facebook account. But it will show you the little buttons that you can actually tweet it out immediately. The sidebar is where you saw author and let me go back. And this right here is the sidebar. So some people are like, I really don't want that on there. So you can absolutely take it off. Anytime you have a little question mark, you can see that they have a little information for you. So it's telling you that some themes do not let you take that off. So it just depends on your theme. Footer code, header code, exact same thing as what we saw before. And then you have some options with your comments. So for the comment system, do you want to use your Facebook comments or anything like that? Usually I just leave it on the default. Do you want it to be open comments, closed comments, or require approval? Closed comments means nobody can comment. Open means anybody can comment, and it's going to automatically show up. And then require approval is your safest route. That means you have to actually approve the comments. They'll send you an email and you have to approve it. Of course, that's your safest route. So if somebody cusses on your comment or, does the spam, it won't automatically show up. You have to go and approve it. Do you want the comments to be auto closed? So what that means is, do you want to say, you know what, after my blog is 30 days old, you can't comment anymore. So up to you. Do you want to use smart captcha? That's when they have to type in a word to comment. It really depends on you. Sometimes, we've all been to that website where they tell you to put in the numbers. You put in the numbers and then it still doesn't go through and it's annoying. So you can decide what you want to do. What this does, the point of this is that a robot cannot, it's annoying. But you can decide, because this just lets you avoid robots making comments. So they actually have to type it out. That's the whole point in that. Smart moderation, you can say yes, I want to moderate it, or no. And notify me of comments, yes or no. If you're going to do anything like a blog, I usually say yes, because unless you're going to check it every day, unless you're going to check it every day and see if somebody commented, which most of us will not, you can say yes, and you can tell it what email address to send the comments to. You don't have to use the email address that you created your account with. So if you want the comments, if you're part of a company, and I like to tell my teachers, if you make, if your principal comes to you and says, hey, I need you to make a website for the school. Well, yeah, I'll do that, but I don't want to approve all these comments, so I may send you to the principal, so you can decide where that goes. And then don't forget to hit save. It's updated, and then I am done. So again, anytime I do something like that and I save it, nothing is quote unquote on the internet until you hit this publish button. So you can make 1,000 changes and leave. If you don't hit publish, it's not going to show up, because Weebly automatically saves stuff. So if I throw something on here and leave this website, when I come back, it's going to be here, but it's not on the internet until I save it. So that's a blog page. Next is an external page. So these two are kind of cool. So what an external page does is, let's say, we can keep the example going. So let's say you are doing that website for your school, and your principal says, well, every school website has to have a link to the district website. And you're like, okay. So you do you do a page and you put a big picture right here that links to the district website. Well, you don't have to do that anymore. You can actually have it linked to an external page. So what that does is, I'm just going to put, I don't know, Smith District. So what you can do is, this up here you can actually have it directly go to the other website. So I'm going to let's use Yahoo. So of course I will put the real URL for my district right here. So you can say, do you want this to take over your website in the same tab? Or do you want it to open up a brand new tab? Website etiquette tells you to never close your tab. Never have people leave your website. So you can do it however you want to. But etiquette says always do it in a new tab, because then they can always come back to your website. You don't want them to have to click back to get to your website. So I'm going to say open link in a new tab. You can, of course, hide the page from search engines. Completely up to you. I'll just leave that checked. And I'm going to click done. I'm going to publish so I can see what this does. So this is my website. Yay me. Notice the about me does not have a picture because I took that off. Notice classes has first period under it. And now when I go to Smith District, so if I click on blog, it brings me to my blog page. But if I click on Smith District, it opened a new tab and it brought me directly to the page that I said to bring it to. So that's what that does. Okay, so if I would have said open link in the same tab, to show you the difference, if I click on Smith District, notice my website went away. It brought it up in the exact same tab. So if somebody wanted to get back to my website, they'd be like, oh, wait, what happened? They would have to go back if they knew how to use the back button. So that's why etiquette says, you may not want to take over your website, but just open it in a new tab. Now, of course, you need to think about, if somebody has a very slow computer or something like that, then that may take a little bit longer. Different things like that. So you can decide. If you have any questions about the external link, external page, let me know. And then we have non-clickable menu. This is, when they first brought this out, I've been using Weebly for years and years and years. When they first brought this out, I was so excited. So let me explain to you what this is. So I'm going to click it, non-clickable menu page. So what this does is, if I had this classes page, right? It'd be better to show you. I probably should just leave this open. Okay, so if I have this classes page, I want to list all of my class periods under this classes page. So I want you to go to first period, second period, third period, fourth period. But I also have to have something on this page for classes. So I'm going to put some kind of picture here. Maybe I'll put first period, second period where you can click on them. But I actually have to have something on this classes page too. But not anymore. So with the non-clickable page, I can make that a classes page. And then I can put all my classes under it, but you cannot click on the actual classes link. So you have to click on whatever I have underneath it. So notice I'm clicking on classes, I can't do anything. Over here I can click on classes, and of course you have to have something here or your website's going to look crazy. But over here, I cannot click on classes, I have to go to one of these underneath it. So why is it really, really amazing? It's because you no longer have to have those dummy pages. So like I said, usually on classes, you'll have a big picture that just says like, welcome to classes, click on one, or you would have to put something. Yes, so you would have to put something, and it's very annoying. So now you can have those non-clickable pages where it's like, no, I don't want to put anything on here. I just want you to click on one of these classes. So that is a non-clickable page. Alright, that is pretty much all you need to know with pages. And that's why I like to start here, because it's, at least you know how to get your pages. So that's how you can do sub pages and everything that we talked about. Now, if you ever have a page that you hide in the navigation menu, you have to come to pages to work on it. Because when you're building your page, you can just click on your page, and now I'm going to be working on the About Me page. I can click on I can click on first period, and now I'm working on the first period page. But if your page is hidden in the navigation menu, you actually have to go to pages and click on it, and then you can start working on it, if that makes sense. All right, now let's go to theme. We're going to kind of go this way because build is where all the magic happens. So now let's go to theme. This is where you can choose a different theme. So I can come here and say, okay, well, I want to choose a different theme. And if you didn't notice how many other themes we have now. I don't know why Weebly does it this way. But once you actually pick a theme and pick a website, you're open to a whole bunch more themes. Why? I do not know. But you are. So just know that. So now I can come here and choose a different theme. I can also click on which ones that I recently used, because you may forget. And if I wanted to click on a theme, I can click preview. Whenever it wants to come up. It's trying. Come on, Weebly. Okay, it's taking forever. But when it comes up, it's going to show you a preview of how that would look with your information on it. Yeah. Or you may just have to trust me or try it yourself because it's taking too long. Alright, I'm going to get rid of that. Alright, so, seems like my whole little page froze, so let me refresh. Now, there is something that I call Weebly acting Weebly-ish. So if anything will happen to where you're trying to move a box and the box won't move, or you're trying to do some words, I'm going to try it again. You're trying to do some words and the words won't come up, always refresh your screen. I call it this acting Weebly-ish. It happens, and it happens more often than I would like. So if you're trying to do something and you're like, it worked last time, it still works. You just have to refresh your screen. Alright, so notice it put all of my information in this theme. So it's going to look a little different. Notice my name is over here. My navigation menu is now on the same line with it. It has a line underneath it. So it kind of shows you, and if you're like, oh no, this is crazy, then cancel it. If you want to choose it, choose it. If not, cancel it. Or if you automatically notice it's something you want to choose, then just go ahead and click choose. You also have custom themes. This is when you create a theme and you change stuff with it. It becomes a custom theme. Okay, so I'm going to close this. I don't want to change my theme, but I do want to modify it a little bit. So I'm going to go to change fonts. What Weebly does is it kind of saves you from yourself. A website is not a Word document. And what I mean by that is, sometimes in Word documents, we want to get somebody's attention, so we make something really, really big, or we change the color, and we just do random stuff to make people pay attention. Where a website is a little bit more classy than that. With a website, you're not going to use a million different fonts. You're not going to use that kind of stuff. So what Weebly does is it gives you this change fonts feature. So what it does is it lets you change the font per category. So anytime I put a title on my site, what do I want the font to be? So that means all titles will be the same font. They'll be the same color, even though you can change that later. You can do a default style and things like that. Okay, the way it is, do you want it bold? So it lets you do that per category. So my navigation menu, so for example, I can't have home in Montserrat or whatever that is, and I can't have classes in actor. You can't do that. They all have to be in the same. So you can choose whatever you want here. Notice your sub navigation can be a little bit different. Phone number, headline, and I like that when you kind of hover over it, it shows you what it's talking about. So your titles, text, links, you can play around with all this. That's theme. You can also put your guides on where it kind of guides you. This is if you're doing a little bit deeper stuff. And edit HTML, CSS, again, that's a little bit deeper stuff. That's when you say, well, I don't want John and Maggie up here. I want it a little bit lower. You can actually go in here and play with the coding. Now, this is a little bit, of course, a little bit more advanced. But you can look up a lot of stuff. So what I used to do, I hate to say this, but it's the truth. So what I used to do is, I had free websites, and if it says I create a free site with Weebly, what I would do is I would look it up, I would research, and I would learn how to make these words white. So it blended in. So it didn't look like I had a footer at all, because the words were white, the background was white, so it looked like I had a paid website. I'm not suggesting to do that, but it's something that you can look into, and you can play with that in the edit HTML. That's theme. Yeah, I should have just paid for it, but I didn't. And I learned how to get rid of this button. It was very interesting. But anyway, then you have store. Now, the weird thing about store is it's really, really cool to build your store. You can have your prices. You can even get people to pay directly on your store page and all that good stuff. But it costs. It didn't used to cost, but now it does. So if you want a store page, but you don't want to pay for the website, then you can't really have a store page. But I'm going to show you a way to get around that. Because remember, our thing is all about free. It didn't say how to pay with Weebly, so I only concentrate on the free stuff. But this is, if you're going to, pay for a actual Weebly website and you want to do this, then awesome. You can play around with it and do whatever you want to with it. So that's store. Apps. Okay, so what Weebly has done is they have created their own app store. So it's not apps how you think about, your iPhone or your Android phone. You have a little box and you go to that and you use the app. It's not that kind of app. What it is when you go to your build page, these what I want to say, apps, I guess, is when you can drag this and create a title. You can drag this and create text. So if you're like, you know what, I really want to drag something else and create something else, but it's not here, then you can go to the App Store and see if it's here. So you see tabs, animator, there's all kinds of stuff here. It's really, really cool because you can play around with it. Some of them are completely free. Some of them are free, or you can pay for it depending on what service you want. If you want a frequently asked questions section, you can download this app. You can read about it, all that good stuff. And then you can either do a live demo or you can just add it. And of course, they have all the ratings for it. So kind of cool. You can play around with the App Store all day long. And then you have settings. So in your settings is where you can change kind of the bigger stuff for your whole website. So if you create a site address and you're like, you know what, I really don't want it to be this anymore, change it. This is also where you can come if that box doesn't pop up. So you can always come here and you can get that box again. Or maybe I put Little Miss Teacher Awesome, but now I actually bought something, or I bought Little Miss Teacher Awesome. So now I would come here and use my own domain that I already have already. Site title. Notice I have a site title right here. And I have these little options. I just haven't gone through them yet. But if I don't want a site title, I can uncheck show site title on the top of my pages. So now, I want to make sure there's no save button. I don't think there is. No. So now when I go to it, the site title will not show. Oh, well, maybe there was a save button. Hold on. Oh, right here. Duh. I thought there was a save button. So now when I go to it, it won't, or it's not supposed to, show. Did I do that right, or did I leave it checked? Okay, I did that right. Save. Update it. Is it acting Weebly-ish? Or just doing what the heck it wants to do. Alright, well, that's supposed to go away. You can also turn it off right here. But it's supposed to go away if you uncheck that. But that's okay. So I can also change the site title. Let's see if it will change. Is it supposed to change? Alright. So then you have your site category. Excuse me. That you can change if you want to. Not a big deal. It just allows them to suggest different things. Excuse me. Your SSL. You can enable that if you would like, or disable it. Your favicon is the little picture that comes up right here. Again, that's a paid thing. So you see the little W like Weebly. On my website, I actually have a paid website. So the little apple is supposed to come up here. I don't even see it, which is awesome. So now I need to look at that. Oh, something's going on with the cookies. Okay. Well, if it wasn't, you'll have the little apple right here. So something's going on with my cookies, so I need to go look at it. Site password, again, if you want to put a password on your website. This one I'm going to get back to in a second because it is important. Facebook sharing, if you want to connect your Facebook account. If you want to archive your website, which is a good thing to do every now and then, you can get the archive email to you. What that means is that they pretty much save, quote unquote, save your website in a zip file. So if something would happen to Weebly or something would happen to your website, you can actually upload the zip file and you'll be most of your whole website. So pretty cool thing to do every now and then. Just email it to yourself and keep it. Simple chat is if you want to have a chat feature on your website that's in real time. You have site formatting, so you can say what time zone you're in and things like that. Notify your customers that it's actually collecting cookies. You can do that. And then you can always come here and unpublish your site. So if you're like, you know what, I love it, but I don't want it to be published right now because I'm not ready for it, you can come unpublish it. If you're like, I don't want to use it anymore, you can come unpublish it. I do suggest that when you get rid of a website, let me get rid of one of these. I do suggest that when you want to delete a website because you don't want to use it anymore, come here and unpublish it first. What does that do? That lets your URL back out into the world. So I do suggest you come here and unpublish it. So somebody else that wants to be Miss Little Teacher Awesome can actually be that. So, or guess what? If you want to create a brand new website but keep the URL, you have to come unpublish it before you delete it. I've done that the hard way. Okay, I had a website, let's say called educatoralexander.weebly.com, and then I delete it because I want to do a brand new website. But if I don't come unpublish it, that URL is gone. So don't forget to come unpublish it first, and then you can go delete it. And I haven't showed you how to delete it yet. This right here is important. So if I go to my website, I have enough space for these pages. If I keep adding pages, Notice it gave me a more. And if I hover over more, it puts all the pages that couldn't fit on my navigation menu. Now, it's up to you whether you want a more button or you wanting to pretty much create a second row. Because you need to think about, I know that a lot of people are lazy. And if you say, hey, go to my new page, they're going to say, I don't see it. I don't see a new page. And they're not going to come and hover over more. So it's kind of up to you. But also creating that double row, sometimes looks a little weird. So you can decide, do you want it to say more or do you want it to just create that second row? So you see what I mean by sometimes it looks a little weird until you have more. So for example, on my website, again, I think people are a little lazy, which I am too. So I didn't want the second row. I didn't want the more button, so I just created a second row. But honestly, I make sure that I always have enough for it to match. So even if I have to create a page and just throw some stuff on it, I'm going to make sure that I have, a full 2 rows. So if I ever went to 3 rows, I would have to come up with, a bunch of pages to make sure I have 3 rows. But that's why I also have a lot of sub pages. So that way I only put, the one thing up here, and then I have sub pages. Okay, also under settings, you have your SEO. This is the same thing that we talked about before, except it's for your entire website. You can add editors to your website. So if I wanted you to help edit my website for me, I can invite you to help edit it. And then what it's going to do is it's going to show up in your Weebly. Excuse me. It's going to show up in your Weebly account as a page that you can edit. You don't own it, but you can edit it. Members is if you have that member-only site. This is where you can play around with that. You can add members from an Excel CSV file. You can add the members here, to say how do they log in and things like that. My app shows you all the apps that you've downloaded. And then your blog is the same blog settings that you saw before. Help is where you get the phone number and the support center. So this is where you can go and ask questions like, why does my title still show up after I said for it not to? Things like that. So you can call them or use the support center. The next little button actually shows you how your website looks on a desktop or a laptop, any kind of computer, or a mobile device. So this is how my website will look on a cell phone. Pretty cool, because you'll know, especially when people call you and they're like, well, I don't see the navigation menu. You can say, oh, are you on your phone? Because it's under the little hamburger, stuff like that. So you can kind of lead them a little bit better when you know how it looks. Okay. Some themes actually let you edit it on the mobile device as well. But a lot of the newer themes do not. So what it means by this is a responsive theme is sometimes I don't want to make stuff more difficult than it is. So what all it means is that this theme will take your website and automatically modify it to look good on a cell phone. So you don't have to edit it yourself. That's pretty much what it's saying. So that's why it says this is a responsive theme. Mobile options do not apply. If you use one of their older themes, if they even show their older themes anymore, then you can actually play around with it to say, well, on the website, I want the picture to be down here. And you can actually do that on the unresponsive themes. That's all of your little buttons up here except for build. Upgrade is exactly what it sounds like, and I will go through it. There is a website, and there's the domain. So with the website, with the domain, you're actually buying the www. You're buying the URL. You don't have to pay for Weebly to buy the URL. That's two completely different things. Then you can actually pay for a Weebly account. Paying for a Weebly account does things like take off the footer, like the footer that says Weebly blah blah blah, and it lets you add your own footer where you can put stuff like this. So just different things like that. Now you can pay for the Weebly website and not pay for your domain. You'll still have a .weebly.com domain. So these are two completely different charges, and you can decide kind of what you want to do. Okay. So that's what upgrade is. And then we've already talked about publishing it. And I've published it a couple of times. So there you go. Okay, any questions before we get to pretty much the nitty gritty? Everything underneath here, we're not going to get through all of them, and that's why we have a part 2. We'll get through many of them. I'm going to show you how to change the picture, how to do this kind of stuff, and then we're going to also talk about Weebly as an account. Okay, perfect. So first thing I want to do is talk about Weebly as an account. So notice that when I'm in a web page, when I'm in a website, how do I see the other websites I've created? How do I add a whole new website? Not a page, I want to do a brand new website. Well, what you do is when you're in here, you're going to come here and click on the little X. When you do that, it brings you to your dashboard. Okay, so this is where all the magic happens for your actual account. So if you notice up here, it has, these are all of your different websites. These are all of the domains you may have bought. These are if you have any kind of G Suite combination. So if you wanted to create an email address at your URL, things like that, you can do it here. And then you have promotions, whenever it comes up, that'll help you with promoting your website on different social media, different platforms like Google and advertisements and things like that. Then you have the refer and save, which I've never actually done, but you can refer friends to pay for Weebly, and apparently your friends get a discount. I need to actually use this a little bit more, but I never do. So if you do want to buy it, let me know and I can give you a discount. But I've never played with this. I don't know how well it works. And then your account is over here. This is how you get to your account page, the support page again, and this is also how you log out. So if you need to edit your Weebly on a public computer, please log out. Log out, log out, log out. Okay, and this is also where you can go to your account and see all of your different account settings and things like that. Okay, this is how you can get to your various Weebly websites. This is the one that you were last working on, so whatever it was, and you see your URL is right here, so you can always come click on it. But if you click on the little down arrow, it shows you all of the websites that you have done. Notice this shared with me. This is how it looks if somebody tells you that you can edit it with them. So that's telling me that this person said I can edit that. Then these are all my other little sites that I teach with or whatever. I can click on any of those, and now I can go and edit that website. Now, when you when you pay for a Weebly site, I forgot what my name was. Was it Awesome Class? Okay. When you pay for a Weebly site, this is something that people get confused. You are not paying for every website. When you pay for Weebly, you're only paying for one website. So if you notice, when I go to Educator Alexander, this is a pro account. So I've paid for this site. But any other website that I use, it's just a free website. Because I actually made that mistake. I was like, well, why do I have all these free accounts? I thought I paid for Weebly. You only pay for one website. So keep that in mind. You have your upgrade button again, and then you have copy site and delete site. This is really important as well. This is where you come to delete that website, but remember, unpublish it first and then come delete it. But copy site is really cool because what it'll do is it will copy your entire website. Why would you ever want to do that? Well, you're up at midnight and you want to make some changes, but you don't want to ruin your baby. That's your baby. When you start creating these websites, they become, I mean, that's like your little muse. So you don't want to mess it up, but you do want to kind of play with some stuff. Well, come copy your site, and then you can completely destroy one of them. And if it's something that you really like, then go to your real site and do it. So copy site is really important. Just make sure you're on, like, name it like copy of awesome class, so you can make sure you're ruining the right one. Okay? And then you can unpublish it and delete it or do whatever you want to with it, because it's not going to be published when you copy it. So down here you have other little stuff, like you have your statistics of how many people show up every week and things like that. Your upgrade button. If you have a form, the entries, your comments. This is kind of the same as up here, the promote button. And they usually give you like a coupon or some advice right here, even though sometimes the coupon is expired, which is really weird. And then other stuff and tips and things like that down here. Okay, so this is your dashboard. To edit the site, you can click on edit site, of course, or you can just, oh no, that's all. I'm sorry, I'm about to say something wrong. You can click on edit site. Go to the website you want to, and then click on edit site. Alrighty then. Okay, so we are back to our website, and now we're going to go through build, where pretty much everything happens. All of these little apps are drag and drop. So that means when you get to a part that says drag elements here, you drag and drop it whenever you want that thing, that element, to be on your website. Now notice it has a box right here. That means all of your elements will be within this box. So that's why if you're thinking about Weebly or Wix or some of the other, they each have kind of different ways of forming their pages. But this is how Weebly does it, is everything is kind of right here in the middle. Okay. Also up here, we already talked about the navigation menu, but let's talk about some of these other things like a title and your header. Title, when you hover over it, you can turn it off. You can make it text only. Oh, now my title changes. You can make it text only, or you can make it a logo. Okay, so apparently John and Maggie is a logo. So the text, because I did name my class, my website, Awesome Class. Logo, that's a picture that they put in here. Or you can turn it completely off. You can also completely delete it, or you can come here and edit it since it's a picture. Now, I'm definitely not going through all this, but if you wanted to edit it, you can. Now, I have to say the editor used to be a little bit more user-friendly, but you know, oh well, we work with what we have. So you can crop it, like you say, you can hardly see it. It used to be more user-friendly. So you can crop it in a square or however you want to crop it. You can adjust it. You can put filters on it. I don't know. It used to be a lot more user-friendly in my opinion. But that is how you can edit the picture if you put it on here. So I'm going to just turn it off. And notice when I hover over it, even though it's off, I can come back here to turn it back on. So if you were wondering, well, if you turn it off, how do you get it back on? You can come up here and do that. Okay, so you get the edit in the trash only with the logo. So let's delete the logo. Now if I go to logo, it's like, okay, well, what picture do you want? You can either choose it from your computer if you already have a picture uploaded, or you can search for a picture. Oh, sorry. Not search. You have to already have the URL of the image. That's what you get from not reading. Alright, so That's how you can play with the title. Next is the header. Now, if you've used Weebly in the past, they definitely have changed this. If you click on the header, so all I did was click on the picture, you can edit or you can replace the header layout. So let's see what both of these mean. You also have this little button right here where you can make your header bigger or smaller. I have to say that this does get a little annoying because there used to be a button where you can actually do the exact same header per page. But now, like let's say I put this at 310. And then if I go to classes, I would have to also come here and put it at 310. So if you want kind of the same header on each one, no, this is just a tip. Notice what number it's on. And then another little like get on my nerve thing about this is if you go to it and you're like, oh, I forgot what number it's on. And if you click on it, it's not going to show you the number. So you actually have to just like drag it up or down really slowly. And you're like, oh, 306. Okay, well, I probably was at 310. Very annoying, but that's what it is. All right, so you can edit background. If you do that, you can say, I want to replace this picture or edit this picture. So I'm going to say, go ahead and replace this picture. Now I can search. Or you see, you can do the image URL again, or if you've made anything a favorite or from your computer. So you have professional pictures that most of the time you have to pay for, or the free ones. I'd rather do the free ones. This is fine. One of these. Alright. There I go. So I have my picture, and of course you can zoom in a little bit to your picture. You can blur it a little bit. If you want to make it a little less transparent. That's kind of cool. I like that. You can darken it. And you can put a filter. Cool. I can also change my image to one of their stock images. So you don't have to go find one. If you're like, oh, this is perfect, then use it. You can also say, well, I need a business one. Things like that. Or you can just look at all of them at the same time. And you can, of course, upload a new image right here. Okay. When I'm done, I will click Save at the top, and now I have my image. If I click on it again, oh, no. If I click on the image again, I can still go back to Edit Background, where I can replace it or edit it. And then I have a couple of options down here. I can do a scrolling effect. Notice what my words are doing. Okay. So I'll do a reveal. And then under Advanced, you can say that you want to save this exact one to other pages, which they had taken off for a while. Super cool to see it back. And you can align the content, which is the words that you put on here, in different ways. So you can make it, at the top, the bottom, however you want to do that. And the only reason it's coming in like that is because I told it to reveal. Alright. So those are your options with that. Then you have Replace Header Layout. So if you click that, it says choosing a new layout will delete all content. So if if you've already put all these words on here, just know that it's going to delete it. That's fine. Delete it. Alright, so I'm choosing a new layout. Uh-oh, sorry. Oh, no. Alright, so if you're choosing a new layout, that's saying, how do you want this content on here? So notice this one is more of a video behind it, which is a paid feature. Anytime you see the little Harry Potter lightning bolt, it's a paid feature. But notice they have the words and then some sub words. This one has a little box right here for notify me. So just notice like the buttons and different things on it so you can decide kind of how you want it. So I'm going to say I want the first one. Oh, it won't let me do it at all because it's a video. Whatever. So I'll say I want this one. So now that I have the layout, again, it got rid of all my little settings. So now I can say I want this at 310, however I want it. And then I have different options on here. Now, the cool thing that they did do, because a lot of the stuff, sometimes I'm like, why did you change it? But I do like that it lets you now actually come over here to the elements and put a new element in here, or it lets you delete an element. So, of course, if I delete it, I'll probably make it smaller. Okay? So, kind of cool that you can do a lot more things with your header than you could do in the past. That color is killing me. So, I'm going to change the color. Perfect. Whatever. All right. Okay. So any questions? I want to show you gradient too. So gradient makes it a nice little, what do I want to say? Like, oh, I have to show you. Okay, so with your colors and things like that, you can either pick a color, or if you already know the number to the specific color that you're looking for, you can do that. But what gradient does is it does something like this. So you see where it's light, it's darker up here, and then it gets lighter. So if you want that kind of effect, that would be your gradient. Where you want it to look a little bit kind of cool. That'll be your gradient. All right. So you now know what every button on here does except for the elements. You know how to do your title. You know how to do your navigation menu. You know how to do your header, or to turn the header off. Remember, you go to pages. You go to the page, or you can say no header. You can pretty much do all that. Now, you may not know how to get this button and how to do this. That's because that's an element. So let's see. I did see a question. Okay, awesome. And remember that I am recording this. So I'm going to send you the link to the YouTube channel, and you'll probably be on there by tomorrow. So you can always go back and actually see every single word, that we talked about. All right, we are done. We're going to go ahead and get to elements. Woohoo! So I'm in. Now, when you're doing elements, the first thing that you definitely want to make sure is, are you on the right page that you want to actually edit? So I'm editing my classes page. I know that I'm on the classes page because you can notice that this is in bold where these are not in bold, and that's a thing. So if I say, you know what, I really want it to be a box around classes because that's what I'm on, I don't want it to be in bold, then you would have to go pick a different theme. That's why I say this is the most important thing of your theme, because all this you can change. But where your navigation menu is, unless you know HTML code, you really can't change that. And notice how my sub pages are in boxes. So if I didn't want that, again, that's a theme thing. So definitely, when you first pick that theme, play around with your navigation menu, because that's what it's all about. All right, let's get into some elements. So again, this is drag and drop. So I'm going to click on title, drag it, and drop it. Notice, you see this blue bar up here? That's showing you where it's going to drop. That's going to be important a little bit later. So I'm going to say, yes, I want a title. Now when I click on it to edit it, I can say, welcome to my website. Now I can highlight it and actually use the little toolbar. This toolbar is exactly like a toolbar on Microsoft Word. Okay, so I can justify it to the middle. I can make it bigger or smaller. I can underline it, italicize it, bold it. I can change the color of it. I kind of don't want to show you that yet. I'm going to show you create link in a second. Then you can remove all the formatting. So if I did this and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's so ugly. Why did I do that? I can come here and just say, you know what, put it back to what it was. Then you have your undo and your redo. Now I will say, sometimes the undo button won't work. So just keep that in mind. That's what I'm going to let you know that. Alright, so I like this title. Welcome to my website. Love it. It's awesome. So the next thing I'm going to do is add some text. So the difference between title and text is that title is always bigger. So you don't want everything to be a title. You really, really don't. So I'm going to put text next. Now notice where my blue bar is. If I want the text under welcome to my website, then that's good. But if I want it to the left or the right, I can do that too. So there you go. So I'm going to put it to the right. Now I can click it. Welcome to my website. I am happy that you are here. And then all of this kind of works, like I said, in the same way as a Microsoft document. So you can kind of do what you want to with it. Another thing that I like that Weebly does is it won't let you go beyond certain limits. So if I say I want this small, 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 it won't be any smaller than that. Big, 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 it won't be any bigger than that. So it kind of stops you and saves you from yourself. Okay? And you can also change the color and the same things that I just did in the other one. Image. You have 3 different options for images. And if you're wondering why I'm staying away from the create link, I'm doing it because I want to show it to you after I show you the 3 things that you can actually link. You can link words, you can link images, and you can link a button. So I want to go get through those 3, then I'll show you the various options to linking. Image. So you have 3 images. You have a regular image, a gallery, and a slideshow. So with the regular image, you're going to click upload image. You're going to add an image from your computer or search. When you add that image, you can click on it. You'll see this little box. That's how you can resize it. So what, again, Weebly saves you from yourself. If you know anything about images, you are never supposed to resize an image from the top and the side because it distorts your image. You're always supposed to resize your image from the corners because it resizes it both by height and width. So Weebly doesn't even give you the option of doing it the other way. Okay? Notice with each element that I put on here, you have these little icons in the corners. First of all, the double hot dogs means that you want to move it. So I can move it to wherever I want to move it. The X is how you delete it. And it's always going to ask you, are you sure you want to delete it? So you have that little, thing. And then you have this little arrow, which can pretty much save your life sometimes when you're doing websites. What does the little arrow do? If you click on the little arrow, you have move and copy. It is very crucial that you click on the right one. So what this is saying, let's say I did this picture. Stop. And I say, you know what? Dang it. I put this picture on the classes page, but I actually wanted it to be on the About Me page. I can come here. Notice I'm not clicking on it. If you click on it, you get this box that I haven't gone over yet. But I can hover over it, click on the little arrow, and tell it to either move or copy. Maybe I want it here, but I also want it on the About Me page. So I can say move, and then I just pick the page that I want it to move to. Or I can say copy, and it will copy to the page I want it to go to. Now, if you move or copy it, once you pick the page, it's going to automatically bring you to that page. So notice I'm on the About Me page now. It's always going to put whatever you copied or moved at the very, very top of the page. And then you move it to where you want to move it to. Okay? The reason why I want to make sure you know that is because I don't want you to start working on the About Me page, but you thought you were still on the Classes page. So just make sure you're on the page you want. But if you do make that mistake, of course, you can always. But you don't want to have to do this for a million things on your page. Okay? So if you ever would do that, let's say I set up this entire page and it's awesome, but it's under Classes and I really wanted it to be under About Me. Go to Pages, copy the Classes pages, rename it About Me, and delete this one. So that's your best way to get around that if you ever do that by mistake. If that makes sense. If it doesn't, just let me know. Alright, so this is just a regular old image. Now you have Gallery. So what Gallery does is it allows you to upload multiple images. We'll just do a couple. Okay, so now it's uploading those 4 images to be part of my gallery. So notice what Gallery does is it puts them on in little kind of thumbnails. I should have just did 2, but it puts it in little thumbnails more than you doing it yourself. Because can I do that myself? Well, yeah, I can come here to image. I can add the image on the side, and then I can kind of do it that way. But why do that if you could just add a gallery and make it quick? But this gallery looks a little weird. I have 4 pictures, but they're not even. So any of the elements, when you're putting them there, you can click on the element and you get more options. So notice for gallery, I have add images, so I can always come and add more. But I also have columns. So since I have 4 pictures, I probably only want 2 columns. Okay. You also have spacing where you can kind of give it a little bit more of a margin at the top or the bottom. You have captions where you can display the captions on hover. So that means if somebody hovers on it, they're going to see a caption. You can also put a little light box around it. Different things you can play with. And the advanced is when you want a border. Notice now all of mine have medium. That's a thick border. This is none. So just different things you can play with. Okay. So if I publish my site so I can see how this looks. Remember, I'm working on classes. Awesome. Now, if I click on each one, notice I now have caption. I said that I wanted to display the caption on hover. Oh, now I'm trying to see how to get to my caption. Why didn't it come up? I'm have to see what's going on with that, but that is how you're supposed to get to the caption. But there you go. So I have my picture gallery. The next one I'm going to do is a slideshow. So with the slideshow, you can tell it how do you want your slideshow to look. Do you want thumbnails? If you don't, you're going to choose this first one. If you want thumbnails at the bottom, this is the most popular one. Then you can have numbers at the bottom instead of the thumbnails of the actual pictures. And you can see the different options. So I'm just going to choose the most popular one. Then it's going to ask you, okay, well, what pictures do you want to choose? I'll just choose 3. If you choose, like I've had some slideshows with like over 100 pictures. If you do that, you can add them all at the same time. It's completely fine. But just go eat dinner because it's going to take a second for them all to come up. Okay. So for each picture in my slideshow, I can make each picture a link. I don't suggest that just because not many people are going to think that a picture in a slideshow is going to lead them somewhere, if you get what I'm saying. Like if I just see a picture by itself, then yeah, sometimes I'm going to try to click on it. But a picture in a slideshow, I'm not going to think that that picture is going to be a hyperlink to something. You can also do a caption per picture. This is how the other one is supposed to come up. I'm going to say cuteness. You can do alt text for the picture to describe the image, or you can absolutely delete the image. So I'm just going to say save. So now I have my slideshow. He is cuteness. That's my what do you call that? My caption. So notice I have my thumbnails at the bottom because that's what I told it wanted. But now I want to go and look at the different options that I have. So I'm going to click on it and look at my different options. First of all, you can always come here and edit, delete, or add another picture. You can also work with the transition side. Do I want it to slide? Do I want it to do a mosaic when it comes up? Slice, fold. And if you want to see what each of those is, then click it, save it, and then publish and see how it looks. So fade is just fading from one picture to the other. That's the most common. Navigation, do you want the thumbnails? You can also come and turn them off if you don't want them anymore. You can actually change it to the numbers or the double thumbnails right from here. And then you can put them at the top, the bottom, the left, or the right. And thumbnails are the little pictures at the bottom. You can say how fast you want your slideshow to go. So if I'm like, you know what, just show it to them and move on. Show, move, show, move. Or if you want it to stay on each picture a little bit longer, you can choose the speed. The spacing really is just the top and the bottom margin. How much white space do you want at the top and the bottom? You have your caption location. Do you want the caption at the top or the bottom? Then you have your advanced. Advanced is kind of important when you're talking about slideshows. So first of all, do you want this slideshow to automatically play when they go to this website? So do you want them to be able, you want it to just automatically start playing, or do you want them to be able to kind of move it to play it or start it with a play button? You'll have a play button. Do you want it to show the controls? That means, do you want it to have a little button right here that they can go to the next one, or no? This one is really, really cool. We all go to websites over and over again, and you see the same two pictures because you're not on the home page for too long. So you never see the rest of the pictures unless you just sit there. So what this does is you can tell it to not start at the beginning of the slideshow each time and to start randomly. So when people come to your website, they may see the slideshow start at random points. Pretty cool. And then the aspect ratio is how big is your slideshow. So you can make it a little bit smaller or a little bit bigger. Let's see how this looks. Notice I put it on autoplay. I put it on 3 seconds each, so it's moving through them. Okay. So those are your 3 options when it comes to pictures. Regular image, gallery, or slideshow. And notice how easy. All I'm doing is dragging and dropping these, and then I'm clicking on them to see what other things I can do with it. That's it. Next is a map. So if I drag and drop the map, it gives you a nice little map where if you wanted to direct someone to something, you can put a map on it. Now, the one mistake I see the most when it comes to maps is somebody will drag and drop a map and they just leave it like this. and I have to call them and say, are you in San Francisco? Then why does your map say San Francisco? So you have to click on it and play with the options. The first option is to put the actual street address, or the street address, or the just address of the state or the city or whatever you're trying to show. Okay. You can zoom in and out of your map to show, if I want to say Shreveport, but I want it a little bit zoomed in to where you see parts of the city, or zoomed out to where you see where it is in the world. Up to you. Width and height is also important, because they're automatically going to give you this huge map. You may not want this huge map. Okay, so you can say I want it small, medium, large. You can tell it how big you want it, or tiny. So that's the width, and then you can play with the height. So you can decide how big or small you want your map to look. It doesn't have to take over your whole page. You can say the position. Spacing is always going to be your top and bottom margin, with the white space at the top and the bottom. Advanced location is if you have latitude and longitude. Excuse me. And advanced display is if you want to do different things on the map itself. So if you want to show one of those little markers at a very specific address, you can do that. You can say don't show the marker at all. You can show things to scale. So just different things you can do. Zooming in on that. And this is a marker, this red thing. Alright, so that's how you can get a map on your page. Anytime you're looking at forms, so this is like contact form, newsletter form, I think there's a RSVP form. Anytime you're looking at forms, these are just templates for you. But you can put contact form and make it into a newsletter form. You can put RSVP form and make it into a different form. So these just kind of help you out if you need to do a very quick form. So I'm going to drag contact form. So what this does, see how these are super big? So this is annoying me. I'm going to go into theme, and I'm going to change how titles look. So that's the kind of things that, like, okay, I don't want them to be this big every time. So contact form. So notice it has name, email, comment. Click here to edit. So you can put whatever that you want them to comment, and it gives you a submit button. So notice these little red asterisks. That means that these are mandatory. So if I click, I can edit the words. Contact me here, or whatever. And of course I can make them bigger or smaller and things like that. Same stuff. Okay. But I can also notice that I'm going to save it right now. Notice this right here. Right? The elements we've been playing with. When I click on a form, notice how these have all changed. Because now, if I don't want an email box, of course I can click the little X right here. But I can choose something else. I can put a phone number box. I can put the email box back. Whatever you want. Okay. Then when you click on each box, you can call it what you want to call it. Maybe I want Gmails only. I can make it required or not. I can put directions under it. Only was going to put a little question mark, but I'll show you. Only put Gmails here. Notice the little question mark. So they actually have to hover over the question mark, and that's where your directions end up. Which is pretty cool. Spacing, again, is your top and your bottom. And under advanced, you can make the form, or the box, I should say, because you're only dealing with this one box, either larger or smaller. They can, even with a small box, they can still type more in it, but you know, it's just the comfort level and how you want your form to look. Okay, so same stuff for each box. If I take required off, notice the little asterisk goes away. So that's why I say when you put contact form, you can create it into any form you want to create it into. Because you got short text, large text boxes, option buttons. You can actually create a quiz with this. Okay, you can say what each option, what you want each option to be called. Oh. And things like that. So you can actually create, a nice little form right here with all of these. Now notice file upload, where you can tell them, hey, upload your resume here. You cannot do unless you are a paid Weebly person. So anytime you see that little lightning bolt, that's what that means. You can always try it and see if it lets you. But it usually will not. So you have all these little things right here. We haven't gotten to structure yet, so I'm not going to go through those, but then you can add a picture. So anything you see here, you can add to your form, which is pretty dang cool. So then up here, you have different options as well. You have your save button that will save your form, but you also have view entries and form options. View entries is where you can actually come and see everybody who has filled out that form. So if anybody's ever filled out the form, it's like your history is going to be here. Then you have form options. This is where you can come. You can rename your form if you want to. This one is really important because you know why it's doing that. Let me show you a little thing with Weebly. If you highlight something, you have to stop directly where you're highlighting for it not to disappear. If you highlight wildly like that, it's going to disappear. It's just like a little glitch. I don't know why it does that. So if you're just like, it's going to disappear. But if you're a little bit more careful with it and you just have to stop where the last letter stops, you'll be fine. So this is where you can come and you can actually type in your principal's email or whoever you want to get the email saying somebody filled out your form. Okay, CAPTCHA is the same thing where a robot can't do it. They have to put the numbers or letters or whatever. Message is what do you want them to see when they finish your form. So you can say, thank you, Miss Alexander will get back to you in 2 days. I mean, you can make this as specific as you want to. Or you can actually put a link. So now that you have done this, please go to this website. Spacing, we already know, is the top and the bottom. And then you can actually add your submit button under here. You can change that. You can make it say whatever you want it to say. You can align it to the middle or the end or whatever you want. Okay. And then you save your form. So now you have a nice little form here where people can contact you or sign up for your newsletter or do whatever you want to do. Newsletter form is just that. It's where they can sign up for your newsletter. So it really is just an email address, subscribe to newsletter button. But notice, it's the exact same form. This is the exact same thing as if I delete all of these. I just leave email here and I put newsletter. I mean, it's the exact same thing. It's just, it's giving you a little template. Okay. Button and embed code would be the last two that we go through. And then in part 2, maybe we'll have more people join us. If not, if you come back for part 2 next Saturday, we will go through, the first thing we're going to look at is how to link things to our title, our images, and our buttons. So with buttons, you always get 4 types of buttons to choose from. So if I click on this and I go to button style, I have 4 types to choose from. 2 are always smaller, 2 are bigger, and then usually you have a light and a dark. So it's pretty much the same wherever you go. It's just depending on what your colors are and that kind of thing, it'll be a little different. But the size and all that will be the same. So I'm going to say I want this type of button. I want the button to say turn in here, or click here, or download flyer here, whatever you want the button to say. You can position your button. You can do the space at the top and the bottom. And you're really not going to use a button unless you're linking it to something. So that's why we're going to start with links next time. And last but not least for today, because we're running out of time, is going to be your embed code. So what your embed code is if you know how, if you go to a third-party, whatever, option website, and you actually want to embed something into your website. So for example, I'm going to go to my Google Drive. If you noticed that when you signed in today, the sign-in form was on my website, right? So when you went to my website, and this is another good thing I can show you. Notice, do you see sign in up here? No. That's because I have it hidden in the navigation menu. Uh-oh. Sign in, not sign on. So that's just kind of to show you about the hiding in the navigation menu. So notice that this form is embedded in my website. You didn't have to click on something to go to the form. You can actually fill out the form right here on my website. And if you didn't do this form, please do it at the end so you can get your certificate. But this is how you embed something. So if I go back to that Weebly sign-in for week 1, this is I'm just showing you this with forms, but whatever you're using, however you get the embed code. So if I go to send and I go to this embed code, I will copy it. I already dragged and dropped the embed code. I'm going to say edit custom HTML, and I'm going to paste that whole code. I'm not going to do anything with it. And then now I have my form embedded. But it doesn't quite look like I want it to look. So if I click on it again and click edit, that's when you can kind of play with your width and your height. So if I say, you know what, I want it to be 1500 width and I'm just going to add 1000 to both. Now I see how it looks. I'm like, oh goodness, that doesn't look right. It looks good for the height, but the width is horrible. So that's when you start playing with it and seeing, okay, well, what will look good for the width? What will look good for the height? And you don't have to be angled. You can just put it how you want it and move on with your life. But that you just keep playing with it. And of course, you can justify it in the middle, left, right, or middle justify. So let's publish and see how this looks. Remember, I was working on classes. So I have all my stuff. I have my slideshow. I have my map. I have my contact me where people can fill it out. And anytime you put a contact form or any kind of form, go fill it out yourself and make sure that it's working. Always go fill it out yourself. I have my turn in here button that doesn't lead to anything because I haven't linked it. And then I have my form. Cool thing about this, at least with using Google, is if I would go back to my Google Drive and update anything on this form, it automatically updates my embed code. So I never have to come back here and do the embed code again. So if I would go here and change Weebly to, Wantly, then it's going to automatically update on my website. So that's another cool thing with embed codes, and at least with Google and embed codes. So that's where we're going to stop today. We're right here next time in part 2, next Saturday at the same bat time and same bat channel. We're going to talk about linking, and then we're going to go through the rest of these.